Okay guys, today we're going to talk about Constantine. Constantine was a Roman emperor. Does anyone know why he was famous? That's right, for being the first Christian emperor. So today we're going to talk about how he became a Christian emperor and whether or not he actually was a Christian emperor. So we're going to talk about the Kingdom of Rome. And Rome, here we are in 2009, and Rome is all the way back here. Here is the time of Jesus in 0. And Rome came from just 300 years before Jesus, about this time. And we're going to start with the story of Rome in 300 AD. Okay, so at this time, Rome has gone from being a kingdom ruled by a king to having senators, and now they have emperors. Emperor is the master of the whole area. And so we're going to start our story with Diocletian, the guy who was emperor before Constantine. So Diocletian was a bad dude. He ruled the whole thing, the whole empire, which at this time was the Middle East, all of Europe, and parts of Northern Africa. He ruled the whole thing, and he made a lot of rules and laws persecuting Christians. You could seize their property, you could burn them in public, you could beat them in public, just pretty much do anything you went to against Christians. So he had put these laws in effect. Another thing Diocletian was famous for and notorious for was he had seen all the previous kings and emperors of Rome and how they had either been killed by people who wanted to take over their job, or there had been lots of wars fought over who is going to be emperor after he died. So he thought, I'm going to outsmart this system, and I'm going to name a co-emperor or kind of a junior emperor to take over after I'm done. So that way there won't be any wars, there won't be any fighting, and nobody's going to kill me while I'm still living. So he named this guy Maximinian. We're just going to call him Max. So they agreed to be co-emperors. Diocletian was going to take over the east side, and Max was going to take over the west side of the Roman Empire. So both of these guys thought, well, this is a really good idea, outsmarting the system, and so we are also going to name co-emperors. So Diocletian named this guy Galerius, and Galerius had kind of been the mastermind behind the anti-Christian laws that had come into place. So Galerius was his junior, and Max named Constantine. He named Constantine as the guy that was going to take over after he died. So Diocletian and Max, they couldn't wait to die. They just went ahead and retired. They were on top, they just got a palace and went into easy retirement. So Constantine and Galerius decided, well, they need to have juniors also. So Diocletian named Galerius, and Galerius in turn named Maxentius. A lot of Maxes going around at the time. And Constantine named this guy Servus. Okay, so Diocletian, he's retired. Max, he's retired. Constantine and Galerius, they are the new emperors, the co-emperors. They're sharing the kingdom of Rome. But of course, people don't share that well. Most guys want all the power. So of course, tons and tons of wars were fought between these 4 guys as to who was going to take over. This system of 4 rulers is called a tetrarchy. It comes from the Greek word tetra, which means 4. So 4 rulers. So of course these guys are fighting. There's all kinds of rebellions and coups and stuff like that. So in the end, Galerius dies, and Servus dies. So this leaves Constantine and Maxentius for the battle royale. They're going to just settle this thing with one final battle. Between Constantine and Maxentius, whoever wins takes over the whole empire of Rome. So it's a pretty huge battle, and it takes place right here, just north of Rome, at a place called the Milvian Bridge. Bridge over some water, over a river, I think. And this battle was so huge, it's kind of become its own legend nowadays. So we have the forces of Maxentius on one side, huge army, tons of people, and we have Constantine vastly outnumbered, only had a few guys with him. And so of course, what does he do in this situation? As the legend says, he prays, or he asks God. Now at this time, Rome was pagan. They had many gods, they had many different kinds of gods, God for everything, God for the moon, the stars, and this kind of stuff. The legend as it goes later says that Constantine prayed to the Christian God. Some legends say that he received wisdom in a dream. Some say that he received it in a vision. Others say that Jesus himself appeared to Constantine, and what they told him was, whether it was in a dream or with Jesus, what they told him was, if you fight in this battle, you will lose unless you fight under this symbol. And there was a symbol that supposedly appeared in the sky or in a dream, or that Jesus gave him. And this symbol, it looks like this. Looks like a P and an X, but in the Roman letters, this is a chi and this is a rho. So this thing is called the chi rho. You may have seen this in Catholic churches or Greek Orthodox churches. It's a pretty famous symbol. So according to this legend, Constantine had all of his soldiers paint the chi rho on their shields and march out into battle. And through this really bloody struggle, Constantine ended up winning. So it appears that God, Jesus, whatever vision appeared to him that told him to fight under the chi rho, it appears that they favored Constantine and Constantine wins. So we would think now, if this legend is true and Constantine prayed to God, God answered, and God delivered him in this battle, we would think that Constantine would go back and become a Christian immediately, and he would go back and just repent of everything that he'd done and totally change. But what happened when he went back? He did just what any other emperor did. He went back and had a triumphal entry. He's building buildings and monuments and sculptures to himself. He's naming things after himself. He actually named this city Constantinople. So he's naming cities after himself. And he's not naming things for God. He's not building things for God, who supposedly saved him from this battle. He's building things for himself. So this is interesting to notice, the first act of this supposedly Christian emperor. Many people refer to this battle as his conversion experience, but it doesn't seem that he converted very much if he comes back and he's just building stuff for himself. Okay, so he comes back to the kingdom, and he's building things for himself, naming things for himself. He's great. But this kingdom was formerly divided. So what do you need in a kingdom that's formerly divided? Because chances are there's going to be a lot of people that don't like you. So what you need are friends. So the first thing that he did, do you remember Galerius was over here on this side? He was one of the emperors. And Galerius was in charge of making those anti-Christian laws. So the first thing that Constantine does is says, well, I'm going to show my enemy and show him, I'm going to erase his laws and say, those laws are no more. So Constantine says, you know what, Christians? Galerius persecuted you, and Galerius took all your stuff. But I'm your friend. I'm going to take away all those laws. So in taking away these laws, Constantine gained the Christians, all the Christians that were in Rome, he gained them as friends by taking these laws away. So it seems that his move was almost more political and more for popularity than it was to actually help the Christians.